QRM 5522, Rio de Janeiro State, Brazil. Brazil State, Brazilian State, Rio de Janeiro Federative Unit, Saquarema City. We will check this today. It was supposed to be my off-season, but things are not like this. Maybe we will have the first argument, the model of cultural destruction, electoral fraud, and others, economical empowerment by things observed. We will suggest you to take a look at the blog, the risk report 2021 tracenovember.blogspot.com, because we have maybe information, relevant information there. We could check the distortions at all systems in a very specific area got integrated and central bank, and have the movement as flow from the treasury to cover the compromised budget with registry -1, create the misperception about the reality, the financial reality is impacted and still impacting the decisions as investment, especially based on fiduciary arguments and capacity to solve the compromises that you have as finance. Then we'll check that this use goes by the institutional empowerment, and the institutional empowerment with the premise as orientation trend, the -1 inside the regular field, which is commit crime hidden or being covered by the institution or the office or the public chair that you have. Indeed, will go by designations, by nepotism, with the premise as corruption. And in many cases, you have the electoral on it, and things got so much outrageous that you can handmade the result of election by the financial records that you can adapt, I would say, by the interest or the purpose that you are serving. But in general, the purpose -1 as trending is a common thing. We will consider that we have two different sides as A and B, and can be political party, can be the macro perception as legal or illegal, and in a very specific moment we will have a disruptive event inside or something like this, like a small crisis in each one of those sides inside the distribution, and will form a third movement, which indeed it's not A capital letter, it's not B capital letter, but indeed is AB combined as failure on both. It's not part of each one as previous, but a thing as itself, forming the movement that we observe in an election named the third way. Going in all areas can be the decision at your investment council, can be the stock council at your company, can be anywhere, or even to have the choice to host a global event like Olympics and FIFA 16 and 14. Then we will check that this model now we will have the real situation as the electoral procedure or the voting procedure to choose, have to pick up the city that will host the event, and this guy here now will try to obtain advantage by promise with both sides, and we will form a coalition with that most advantage that this group can obtain or consider obtain. Indeed, he will be combined as something like this. Can be with two areas by the -1. Corruption is always corruption affect all sides equally, even if it's the legal side dripping information or the illegal side having the delivery of other criminals. Same thing. and in the end we will have the possibility as result in the end of the election. And this indeed has a variance, which is this matrix here, as you can check. And these scams will now be gone and be ruled by the variance. It means that you do not respect your constitution because the opinion of a corrupted judge or corrupted ministry with drug problem, tax evasion, and others is more relevant than your constitution. And then you consider the activism the solution of your problem. And after all, you will be inside an international procedure, in an interrogatory, offering other criminals because indeed you are a criminal caught in the hands in the act. The Congress and the government change from time to time based on the election, and in general the government have the choose about the minister, the judge, especially in USA we can observe this. Can we have the new tracer and the quadrant tracer considering all elections at least 2018 up to 2021, considering Paris, home, Brazil, America at least, which implies to have the observation as drug test, property evaluation, tax evasion, bank account decision, signature, budget decision, which implies the signature, contract signature, and it model offered at the blog. We will check that a lot of people is taking advantage of this. Will lead us ourselves to the COVID-19 scam, and then we are having the new variant of this virus. But this virus indeed is looking kind of a model as organization. As you can observe, this model is a model of cultural destruction. And now we will keep the premise, I would say, as having things by the COBOL 50s. If we have positive 1, 0, 0 as my taxonomy at by values at the 50s, we'll have a single argument here, which is the negative one impacting both, and we will ask this: do you consider that the corruption or the corrosive argument affects all equally? 1 1 yes, 0 0 no. If this is a crime, 1 1 you committed an international crime, you will be sent to an international prison in a neutral area as jurisdiction which is above and overseas. If it is 0 0, you are lying, and then you will explain why do you need the migration of modified data and the support of fintech and other crimes based on cyber threats and corruption, pointing out to the reasons as electoral fraud to have the continuation of this by designation, considering the advantage and the scams that goes by variance despite the explicit value present or got presented as one specific candidate or political party. But we have levels as deeper levels, which is the association of both weakness and corrupted areas by the corruptors on it. Segmentation, economical and power has continued of this plan. We can have this by the new tracer as flow and reversal flow, considering that you are inside the criminal scams. In general, maybe we will have 6 up to 20 on federal prison America, and it doesn't matter if you are a Brazilian or not an European. If, for instance, if you have a contract with an American company, you will be under the American law. If this research is violated by you, considering that maybe you must request now international law enforcement with the NORTON antivirus. If I had update or something like this at my profile, considering the VPN that I do not have, I do not buy this by the Conjunto Brazil, which is a shit, very risk, full of junky institution. And if this is something illegal, broken the security of and the trust between me and the company Norton as provider of antivirus, and maybe how this can impact the local provider of communication service. And it's like this: if you are offering this inside international procedure, this third intervention will claim as mandatory need the presence of the variables on local areas committing the abuse, and send them to a federal prison in USA. You will send a letter to the embassy in Brazil. They will present themselves at the embassy, which will be an American embassy, for instance, and they will be sent to America to have the legal accomplishment in a federal prisional unit, America, 6 up to 20 years as suggested. Sometimes, according with the circumstance and depending of the crime observed, you will have threats, treasons, and a lot of things, and in America in some areas you have death penalties. Then, we will have this reviewing model of cultural destruction can destroy everybody by the negative one about 50 single question. Do you consider that the corruption affects all equally? 1 yes, 0 no. Do you consider that this exists inside the central bank Brazil using the treasury by the fake data, which is indeed something that goes even at the subsidiary and the last field of security that you have, which is our criminal system and the criminal system of justice that offer case and all things by money? Do you consider that Brazil committed industrial crime with hidden variables inside and it's unable to have the responsiveness and the accomplishment by law? Serious consequence. Do you agree that Brazil lost the dignity at all? And if Brazil is linked and related with others peers, interval 2012-2021, we are not in supporting Brazil, we are not supporting maybe other states, but only specific heads inside those states or those institutions that do not get along with this model as corruption and international crime. Do you consider that this indeed is a factorization by the lack of will, which doesn't match as the purpose and continuity of tranquility and stability based on US Preamble? And to close our issue, the idea as having the white collar crime as, the courting of something deeper is something very wrong, because the white collar criminals must turn you in, obtain the privilege, and let the bomb with you like the hot potato. Have a nice week.